just didn't feel real. It still don't feel real now, like, you know, I always think of him and I just think I could have done things different.
Well, someone has gone over in my own, where I live and at, you know, and I've given them the naloxone and put them in a recovery position, put an ambulance and that. Ambulance come, police come and all that, but it's not something I like to go, you know, go through all the time.
We got called out to an overdose, alerted by someone else. Came up here, myself and my colleague. Found the individual lying in the road, was with his girlfriend. He'd injured his head on the way down, so there was already a head injury to worry about.
I was sitting at my desk and a CDAT worker came up to me and he said, I've just been outside now and there's an overdose on the bench outside. So we just started dispensing naloxone, Stidasad ourselves. So I ran and grabbed the naloxone and followed him down. When I seen on the bench, there was a young female there with a group of people gathered round her.
I remember, like, we had a phone call to say it was somebody and that their partner was going to go over. She said that, you know, they used a lot and she could tell.
I administered it 3 times. The first time I had to use it was with one of my good friends. He went over in my mate's flat. My naloxone was in my flat, so I had to jump on a bike whilst they were ringing an ambulance and get my naloxone because it was about 5 minutes away.
Myself and my colleague both administered naloxone to him. I think, if I remember, there was someone else who called the ambulance. I think we put him in the recovery position. He did seem pretty far gone at the time, but he did then come around. We were trying to get him to, if I remember, stay on the floor for fear that he would fall back over and injure his head again.
So approaching the girl, she was grey to look at, blue on the lips. So she was quite struggling, but she was breathing. So I approached her and started talking to her and told her what I was going to do. I was going to give her naloxone, yeah, although she wasn't awake or with us at all. Like.
Went into the garden and then there was the 2 of them and like the girl was holding her partner and then like literally as soon as we got there then like he hit the floor and he was down.
It got delayed the first time. I think it was about 20 minutes had gone by since he'd gone over. So yeah, like, you know, so he passed away, unfortunately. So
the first experience that I'd had where people were looking to me for a response, because it happened previously, but there were nurses around and I had no clue of naloxone. It was kind of taken out of my hands, which I was very relieved about. But in this instant, everyone kind of looked to me. I've never felt so... I was scared.
A number of things to deal with when we arrived here. So it was kind of trying to figure it out really and figure out what was the safest way to deal with him. But, you know, he survived. I think he went off with the ambulance. So, yeah, well done, naloxone.
Ray and Josh really experienced in it, did the naloxone side of it, in this particular overdose. And I held his head and just kept speaking to him, looking for breath, speaking back to the team. So we worked as a trio, trying to get him to wake up.
My heart was in my mouth because it was the old naloxone kits, yeah, and I was just panicking and praying that I didn't snap this ampule, but it opened okay and drew up for naloxone.
You know, as a volunteer, you have the training, you talk about overdose and what to expect, but nothing's going to prepare you for what you see, you know. The colour of their skin, it's like nothing I'd ever seen before, you know, like frothing in the mouth, just like the stillness. So yeah, it was...
Takes everything out of you. You know, you're thinking, are they going to survive, are they going to die or whatever and that. And you're thinking then, what's the consequences from it? And
it felt like for like sort of couple of hours, like there was obviously a couple of seconds, and then remembered Cara from the training, and so that kind of leveled things out in my head quite a lot.
CARA stands for Call an Ambulance. First thing to do in any emergency situation, especially when it comes to an overdose. You will have, at best, a limited supply of naloxone or pronoxad on you at that time. Whereas when an ambulance arrives, they will have a lot more. So that's that person's best chance of survival. So call an ambulance, airways, check that they're clear, recovery position, and then administer naloxone.
You just kind of go into autopilot, and like your adrenaline kicks in, and then you run to the scene, and you just kind of go into autopilot. It was just so much adrenaline just to save this person. It's like, do everything you can to save this person no matter what. You just don't think of anything else except for this person needs to wake up.
The problem with overdose deaths is it doesn't really affect the person that's gone, obviously. It really has a massive knock-on effect for the people who were left behind, and that's friends, family, etc. And although the people that I've been involved with didn't die at the time, there's lots of people that I know where there hasn't been anybody around to do any CPR who have died, personal friends of mine, which leaves you with really mixed emotions, and that's just as a friend kind of thing.
It was just the craziest experience of my life, you know, and I still don't think that that's prepared me for another overdose since, in regards to the feelings and things. I mean, effectively, you know, you can never be prepared for something like that, I don't think. As long as you kind of go through the motions in your head, but you can't ever feel 100% secure.
I did have that one thought, though, you know, it's like saying that's all you think about is this person needs to wake up. There was that one thought that went into my head, and I got rid of it straight away, was if this person doesn't wake up, he's going to die in our arms.
It wasn't until about early hours of the morning I think I started coming around and really thinking, oh my God, what's happened, like, because I knew his parents. I'd known him most of my life, so, you know, it was a bit more personal then, like, you know, it really is a bit of a wake-up call. Although it didn't stop me taking drugs, but it woke me up to the fact that this is serious, like, you know, you can be told so many times, can you? You got to experience it to sort of realise it, like, you know, yourself.
Oh, it do make you feel why you are doing the stuff in the beginning.
But a lot of depression can take hold, a lot of mental health can take hold, and it destroys families, really, overdose deaths kind of thing, when they can be so easily preventable by the use of naloxone on everybody having a working knowledge of chest compressions and that.
Yeah, a lot of guilt, like, I was feeling a lot of guilt, I suppose.
You go home and you go home to your nice house, and you go home to your family, to your cooked dinner, to your car, to your dog, you know, your partner, whatever, and your nice weekends. But for these people, they go home perhaps to that garage that we found that guy in,